welcome to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, 12:30 and 1 o'clock on Thursdays during your lunch break, where we talk to the power networkers within Greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. I have the pleasure and the privilege to be interviewing Landon. I just interviewed a doctor. It was a little
Coming
crazy.
soon, right?
Coming soon, yeah.
Yeah.
Landon Atkinson, who is your VP or owner?
VP.
Of Greysquare.
That's me.
Dude, you and I met, and I'm saying this because we're friends now. You and I met about 2 years ago.
It was something like that.
It was crazy at a WeWork
least.
event, and we came over, we hung out, we chatted about your company, and then I think we reconnected on LinkedIn. I said, listen, man, let's get a chance to chat again, and we got a chance to chat. You came to an event the next day. Hung out with me afterwards.
Sign me up, whatever's going on, I'm fully in. Yeah.
This is not yet kosher. Great.
All good.
So let's talk about you, because I could talk about me all day. So tell people who you are, what you do, what makes you awesome, and really what the foundation of how Greysquare came to be.
Yeah, I could do that for a couple hours.
Yeah, man, cool.
So Landon Atkinson, I'm the vice president of Greysquare. We are a sales consulting firm, so we typically get large business clients. They'll hire us to build sales teams for them. We started this business back in 2016, so December will be 3 years for us. So it was at the very end of 2016.
We must have met
We were very new.
We
were at a career fair hiring some of our first employees of the company.
Right. Son of a gun.
Yeah, right out of the gate.
Wow.
We made it this far.
Yay!
We made it this far. We started with a few good friends who had a ton of industry experience with some of the bigger consulting firms in the industry, and thought we could do it on our own instead of working for the man. Typical entrepreneur story, and hired some great people along the way. We've grown a lot in the past couple years. I mean, we've expanded from, still our base is Philadelphia. We're down in Northern Liberties, but we operate now we're in Baltimore, we're in Miami, we're in New York. We've spread out a little bit. Keep things moving.
And so what do you mean by operate? So you guys are the team that comes in and goes, so someone calls you up and says, hey, I am looking to expand my team. I need help finding sales professionals. So what is the difference between what you guys do and a recruiter?
Sure, absolutely. So the biggest difference is that as opposed to placing someone with a company, they actually work for us. So the call is really, hey, sell our stuff.
Right.
Sell our products, sell our services. Here's a contract to do so.
Okay.
Right? So we hire, train, develop a team of people to push a client's products.
And services?
And services, yeah.
Okay.
So the biggest difference between us and a staffing agency is, we're not only hiring people to do the job, but we're also training, managing, developing, scaling a project out. So we don't just kind of place and go. They hire us just to get our product out there, drive some sales, and we'll wash our hands of what's going on.
So when someone when they work with you, is the staff that they hire, is it more on the is it B2C or B2B?
We do both.
You do both?
Yeah, we do
okay.
both. Yeah, we do both. And that's really our area of expertise, is just providing it can be small to medium-sized companies, but it's typically large businesses, a real local presence, face, personality behind their products. And so what that looks like is everything from, we do some retail staffing for some of our clients. We do some events, promotional type marketing. We do business to business sales, business to consumer. Whatever makes sense to hit their target market is what we're going to do.
Now, do you ever work with consultants to sell their stuff? And the reason why I'm asking is that's a harder sell. That's like going to an event with somebody and saying, it's kind of what I do. But I'm asking, how do you manage, regardless of what I do, how do you manage that process? Because that's needed a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's a one-man band, or if they're just a few people, how are you managing that one person to sell, or to at least expand or be an ambassador of their businesses? How does that work?
Sure. So it's typically, we typically aren't the greatest fit for someone that's super, super small.
I was going to ask, okay.
Yeah, we're more of, we want to build a team of 20 people that's hitting the streets, selling their products to small to enterprise accounts. So the smaller business, we're not necessarily the greatest fit for.
Yeah. No, were you guys at the Think Fest a couple years ago?
It was a WeWork. It was
no, I know, but there was a conference where they oh God, he looks.
I don't think so.
All right. I could be making things up. All right, so when you work with clients, what can they expect from you as when they hire you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason that some of our clients like us as opposed to like the bigger players in the industry is accessibility. You know, our team is local. We've got long relationships with some of these companies that we work with and represent, and they're getting accessibility as well as commitment to performance. I mean, we can take a client's product and start generating sales for that tomorrow.
Wow.
You know, very quick turnaround, because we've got teams in these places where, you know, a client like ours, say Sprint, for example, we have a contract with Sprint. They roll out a new product. We can start selling it tomorrow into businesses, getting feedback, feet on the street.
Wow.
Getting after it.
Interesting. And so do you have any metrics to back that up?
Sure, absolutely. I think in terms of metrics, do you mean
ROI?
How we kind of judge performance? Yeah. So I think for in terms of ROI, their contract with us is paying us just for the work that we do, the results that we get. So we sort of eliminate the risk. You know, we don't ask for a typical like huge upfront fee to start doing business with us. It's, you know, we'll take your product, we'll get it out there. You pay us strictly for the work that we do.
Yeah.
So we can turn ROI next day,
Amazing.
very quickly.
It's like kind of like a guaranteed model.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. You know, in taking that risk away, we basically say, you know, not only do we have the track record of, I can say, hey, we've worked with X, Y, and Z of your competitors, some massive companies, here's the results. But on top of that, if we're not any good, just don't pay.
Right.
You know?
Interesting. So when you hire teams like this, what do you look for in hiring employees? Yeah,
for sure. So it depends on how complex a client's products are, right? For some of like the enterprise sales that we do for companies and the business to business sales, we need somebody with experience. We need somebody that's got, you know, a little bit of background in the space. For the consumer stuff that we do, we really just need the right personality.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sales, so you get it. You know, it doesn't necessarily always have to have like the perfect resume to get into sales. A lot of times it's just, you know, do you have the work ethic? Do you have the personality? Are you good with people? Are you charismatic? I can take care of the rest in terms of training.
Wow. So when you are working with clients, what's the craziest thing you've had to sell? And I'm asking because these are good stories.
Yeah. So one thing I like about,
and by crazy I mean like just unconventional.
Absolutely.
Like Gloop or something.
Sure.
Like, you know?
I actually have a good one. This is several years ago before we started Greysquare. And what I like about our team is, as long as there's some potential upside in a project, as long as it appears to be scalable, we'll try anything.
Yeah.
You know, we'll try different stuff out. So we took a contract several years ago with a company in Delaware that did trash collection services.
Okay.
Right? And so they were basically a newer business. They were lower priced than the competition. They were like, go out there and get us business and consumers to switch from their trash company to our trash pickup company.
How are you going to do that?
Business to business, door to door, however.
Boots on the ground, selling. It's kind of like being a vacuum salesman, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, at that project at the time.
Yeah.
And you know, what we thought going in is, there's no loyalty to the local trash company, right? You don't care who it is. It's a price point. You know, we're basically going and saying,
they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're saying, listen, all right, today the green truck picks up your trash, right? And they're charging you $50 a month. Tomorrow the blue truck's going to come in. They're going to charge you $40, whatever, right? Who cares who it is? Not the case. So much loyalty. They're like,
really?
This green truck has been coming here for 10 years. My daughter loves the guy on the back of that truck. She brings them ice cream.
Yeah.
We're like,
damn it.
Didn't work. It did total bust. Total
wow.
bust. But yeah, I mean, the upside was, you know,
I never would have thought that. Jeez.
No, you wouldn't have. No. And we didn't either, you know. But that's part of what I like about what we do is, you know, we can take a client and kind of learn things along the way and adjust our business. And, you know, we didn't make a killing out of it. It never turned into some national campaign, but it could have, which is what we liked about it.
Interesting.
That's probably the craziest thing.
I can only
that
imagine.
We've had to push the market. But again, like, we'll try it out.
So do you work at conferences too? Do you guys go to conferences and kind of do the whole booth thing?
For some companies we do.
Yeah.
For some companies we do if it makes sense. I don't think we don't have a ton of business in that space, but here and there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely beneficial.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated by this because it's a very sales and transactional way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
With the numbers and the kind of people that you have, they have a job to do and they go for it. Like you guys are building the relationships with the consumers and with the vendors and all that jazz, but it's the workers that are going out, and especially now, is the price point for each of your clientele under a certain amount that allows the transactions to be a little bit more fluid? So for example, if something that's being sold for $1,000 and then something's being sold for $50, there's a little bit more of a sales cycle with the $1,000 than it is for the $50. So how do you guys manage that?
Sure. So we prefer a client with a product that's going to be a shorter sales cycle.
So typically what, if you mind me asking?
Sure. Telecommunication products, we work with Verizon and their Fios product. We work with Sprint, some of their B2B solutions. We help businesses with their electric and gas rates, things that aren't super complicated, so that we can get people, our people productive quickly. We can get results quickly. I wouldn't say we're the experts in the enterprise type sales yet. We have a couple programs that we're getting into that space a little bit, but it's really just kind of learning as we go.
Wow.
But our real bread and butter is something that can be sold relatively quickly.
Yeah, and there's really not, it's more of just, do you want it or you don't need it?
Sure.
Right? You're not really convincing people, and you shouldn't have to convince during sales. It should be just giving you the value of what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So
we like it. It's fun.
It's an interesting so I sold liquors, wines, and spirits.
Okay.
I worked in do you know what I'm talking about, on-premise and off-premise stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was a promotional representative for the Heart Agency in New York.
Okay.
And that was very much I would pour at wine stores, and I would go to bars during, again, I think it's like, sometimes I get a little anxiety around Thanksgiving because I remember doing, it would be the day before Thanksgiving and then Black Friday because everyone's in town. So they go to bars. So the goal would be, I think it was Wild Turkey we were promoting, and they gave us all of this swag we had to take from bar to bar to bar to bar. And it was a very much just try all of our stuff, and everyone loved it. But it was just it was very and the transaction wasn't payment, it was more of try it. But that was the very much the first opportunity that I had to sell something very, very quickly and be as engaged and loud and excited and aggressive in that way.
Right.
So how do you manage the stereotypical throw it in your face, buy this, to how you guys manage your clients and their products? Sure.
So I think some of the event-based stuff, the retail-based stuff is kind of that quick turn, type of deal where there is some commonalities where if you're approachable and likable, that's half the battle, right? Because the products kind of speak for themselves. Who doesn't want free liquor, right? If it's coming from a nice-looking, charismatic, fun person, I want to drink with that person. Who doesn't, right? So I think some of our kind of impulse sale programs operate the same way. But I think we have to train a little bit differently when it comes to small to medium business sales, where it's really, of course we want to lead with, hey, I'm nice and interesting, let's have a conversation. But it really turns into, let's determine first, can we provide value here? Right. Let's get those initial questions out of the way where, does this make sense? Is this a good fit for you? And keep it moving if not.
Nice. So when we return, we're going to talk to Landon about his tactical tips and practical takeaways in networking and being able to figure out how and why he networks effectively. Stay tuned. Be right back.
And we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind the scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Connected Success with me, Ashley Owens, at 12:30 and 1 o'clock on Thursdays during your lunch break. I have Landon Atkinson from Greysquare, who's the VP, of Greysquare. We were just talking about traditional ways of being able to sell, but also the networking aspect involved and what makes them different and all the great stuff. I'm still fascinated by your model because it's bringing back a lot of high energy, high octane kind of environments, and I used to sell liquors, wines, and spirits. But to learn a lot about sales. So can we go into when you are at, what is your networking strategy? Like what do you do, where do you go, and do you ever find that there is a line between sales and networking, and where do you kind of straddle that line?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll take it from my experience here, because networking is a really, really big piece of how this business actually got together. From, the people that we chose to start the company with were old coworkers, associates from over the years that had a good track record. The clients that we have, probably half of the clients that we work with today are companies that we worked with in the past that I did a project for. It's some old company I worked for, old associates, whatever the case may be. So I think that piece of it is a lot based around trying to do right by people, making sure you care about their needs, staying in touch with people, keeping contact, whether or not you can sell them something, right? And I think the other piece of how I use networking for future business is just constantly being out there. Just trying as much as you can to learn about someone's business, to learn about their needs, to learn about what helps them operate. And whether it's something that you can help them with today or something you can help them with in 5 years, if you keep that contact and you try to do right by people, you start to build a good network. And how do you nurture those relationships? I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to learning way too much about people and staying organized. I really do. And our team makes fun of me for this internally. Just as something simple, one of the things I like to do is I find out people's birthdays, right? And I still send the handwritten cards to people that I've met for however many years. Just little things like that. I just try to stay involved, just try to stay engaged, because you never know that somebody that you met at a networking event, somebody that met in the future, try to send referrals if possible, just anything to stay in touch. I set a lot of reminders. So-and-so's birthday's in a week. So-and-so has some event that they mentioned that's a year from now. I want to know about a month in advance. Hey, good look at the thing. I bet your client appreciation is out. People love it. It's just crazy. People love it. People love it. Well, because it's so, I think in that there's a custom approach, there's a personal approach to that. And the handwritten notes, I keep every single one that I get. And they're all on my wall, and I just look at them, and I appreciate the fact that that's there. But I think it's such a dying activity, and it can be challenging to do it all the time. But if you have a good relationship with somebody and there's a handwritten note that comes in, that is a way to stand out. So going off of standing, just because you show that you care. So when you stand out in that way, especially in your business and how you treat your clients and your employees, who do you like working with? So if you were to pick strategic partners, people you can share clients with, or that have the similar target market or the same target market, who do you like engaging with the most? Sure. I like people that have creativity and a good long-term vision. Because a good project for us, while we're in spaces with like large businesses as our clients, that's not necessarily where we'll be forever, right?
Yeah.
The common thread of somebody that I like to work with is, has a little bit of a risk taker in them. They're willing to try something new, and they have a good vision for the future. And because that's typically what we're interested in, is something that we can really build out and grow with and kind of figure things out along the way.
Now, do you advertise? I mean, how do you guys advertise? What's your marketing strategy look like now?
Yeah. So, I mean, fortunately for us, I mean, we've been in business for, 3 years next month.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You're
Absolutely crazy.
a junior.
I know.
Right?
I know,
Isn't that
right?
weird?
It really is.
It's crazy.
It really is.
I'll be a junior next year. I got to get my shit together.
Fantastic. Don't we all?
It's like I'm going to college or just taking, making it work.
Yeah,
but
right.
Congratulations,
so, I mean, in terms of, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
In terms of, advertising what we do, we haven't had to do a ton of that, to be honest, because, we acquired a lot of our initial clients through just prior relationships, and
the low-hanging fruit.
The low-hanging fruit, right? Like I think what anybody would do.
Of course. Oh yeah.
And building
it's where you
out
start.
It really is. It really is. And luckily for us, if we could do a great job for a company in Philly, we start to get the opportunities of, hey, is this possible for you to do in DC, in Miami, in New York, in these other places? And so that's been kind of our growth strategy of at least these first few years of getting off the ground, right? Is just work with existing programs. And very, very fortunately for us, we've had a lot of new business opportunities come our way through just doing right by people, referrals, a lot of stuff's come through that way. Some of it we haven't even been able to touch or to pull off just by trying to keep old promises before we make new promises.
Right.
But yeah, I would say we haven't had to do a ton of that. Fortunately for us, and we will in the future, and we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there. And I think in a perfect world, our great reputation of doing right by our clients and return on investment carries us indefinitely into the future. It might be crazy to think that's the case.
But you know what? I think with the foundation that you have now and what you've been able to build, your reputation speaks for itself. You guys are making it into a process that people are going to refer you and make introductions to you.
Sure.
That makes sense based off of the fact that you've been able to pull it off, and how you've been able to champion your clients and promote them.
Sure.
What do you think has been, when someone calls you, what problem are they having?
Typically, they're really calling us just for sales of what, in a lot of cases, is a new product, right? We have a new product. There's obviously the traditional advertising and marketing and TV and radio and things like that we'll do. But we want to get results now. We want to get feet on the street. We want to get this out in front of people. Help us make that happen. So typically the problem is just wanting business out of a certain area. Like get this product into the hands of people in Philly, into the hands of people in New York, Boston, whatever. So it's typically all driving sales based. So
when you are working with strategic partners and you're going to networking events, what organizations are you a part of, if any?
Yeah, sure. And I think this was one of the first reasons that I reached out to you to kind of reconnect was, our first couple years in business, we were strictly doing B2C programs where networking didn't have a ton of value.
Right.
Or return on our investment,
in the typical
very
networking.
transactional stuff, that we were doing. So it didn't make sense to spend all this time to meet one person. We could do our regular job and meet 50, just very quick, kind of short transaction stuff. Now that we've gotten into B2B programs where we can really help companies with some of their wireless solutions, we can help them secure rates for their electric and gas bills and things like that. It makes sense to kind of get into networking. So I think a good space for us to go after is just the small business, the networking, getting out there in front of people, which we haven't done much of in the past because it's kind of been our work now has come from the work we've done in the past. And now we need to get out there in front of the small businesses of Philadelphia and Jersey and the other places.
Businesses, did you happen to go to this Small Business Expo? There's one in New York this past week.
No.
Dude, you should talk to? I got plans. Sorry,
yeah.
guys, we're just having
always. That's why we're hanging out.
But I I would love to see. Do you guys speak? Do you guys do a lot of workshops and things like that?
Yeah.
You should let me know when that happens.
I'm in.
Yeah, because that'll be a good opportunity for people to see the value. Because again, it is a little different than the typical sales cycle, right? It's a very transactional. So how do you take your business from X, Y, and Z?
Sure.
But if you had 3 tips to give around your networking style, what would they be?
Okay, let me kind of walk through these.
Yeah.
I think the first would be everyone has potential for you to do business with in the future.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone you come across. And whether it be a friend, a customer, a client, anybody, stay in touch. They all have potential in the future. I think the second thing is try to provide value, even when it doesn't directly impact your pocket. So I have people and clients and businesses that come to me that I can't do anything for. But based on good networking, a guy who can, and you can kind of refer business and try to do right by people. And I think the third, and this is something that I'd like to improve on, is to always be out there in front of people. After hours, meeting people, getting yourself out there, getting your message out there. So I think those would be the 3 kind of simple things that people can focus on.
But that you can drive home. I mean, I think you've definitely been a product of your own advice, because you've been able to build your business for 3 years in a way that is strictly based off of the networking and the people that you've known in the past. I mean, you've kept in touch with, man. If anybody's going to be building relationships, it's going to be somebody who writes handwritten thank you notes to everybody, for God's sake, man. It's brilliant. I just love your strategy and your whole overall solution.
That.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
Do me a favor, we're done. I'm sorry.
All good.
I know,
this is a blast.
It's the worst. Do me a favor, look into that camera right there and tell people how they can find you.
Sure. So you can find our company, www.gograysquare.com, G-R-A-Y, square.com, and on all social media platforms at GoGreysquare.
Dude.
Check us out.
Thank you so much for being
We
here.
out here.
I love it. Thank you, everybody, for watching Connected Success on RV and TV, 12:30, 1 o'clock on Thursdays during your lunch break. Make sure you stay tuned next week to see the next Power Networker in the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. Thank you to my guest, Landon, for being here. And we've got another meeting to have after this, because I've got so many ideas.
Love it.
And ideas of just people I want to just throw your way. And just
I love it.
Take it, man. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week.